Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show, your daily fix of football chat on STV. The main talking points tonight. Tom Rogic says he would welcome a match between Celtic and Dundee in the USA. Mike Ashley wins the right to challenge the SFA's verdict on Dave King. And we'll look at tonight and tomorrow's Champions League fixtures. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin, and our bookroom guest is Des McKeown. Delighted to have Des with us to talk football tonight. Of course, Tom Rogic has been speaking today ahead of the big game for Celtic on Thursday night against Ajax. It's win or bust. It's as simple as that. He feels fairly confident, Ruffy, that despite all the poor results in Europe, Celtic can still qualify with these two games remaining.
Well, he's obviously basing it on the results at home when they were winning 2-0. They should have won that game, and he'll be hoping they can tighten up at the back. But they've got a lot to improve, you know, particularly with the Kilmarnock game at the weekend. They're struggling to break the team down. You know, I think Ajax will be the same, but I think Ajax will offer a lot more up front. Yep.
No Chris Commons. It looks as if he's going to be out for Thursday. That's a blow down.
Yeah, he's somewhat the talisman for Celtic in Europe, has been over the last couple of seasons, Peter. And generally, when Celtic needs something to happen in Europe, Chris Commons delivers. So Ronnie Dyla, John Collins and the backroom team will be hoping that Chris Commons can make it. If not, it's another difficulty and another challenge that they're going to have to face. Because I think at this stage, you know, you would have to say that they're really up against it. I don't think it takes a Philadelphia lawyer to work that out. You know, as you said, win or bust, and you need to have your best players available, and Chris Commons is certainly one of Celtic's best players.
I mean, you could look at all the stats in the previous games heads to head between them. Roughly some of the best victories Celtic have had. They've been posted on Twitter and Facebook over the last couple of days. I've looked at people posting the victory for Celtic with Chris Sutton, Bobby Petta, Henrik Larsson, all these guys in the Amsterdam arena. And then, of course, you can go further back and you see, old grainy colour pictures of George McCluskey and Charlie Nicholas when Johan Cruyff was playing for Ajax. There's not the same quality there, no. And a number of people are talking about what do they have to do in this game. I think even Pat Bonner mentioned it's just win. Style out the window. I don't think anybody would care.
Yeah, I think Des has touched on it briefly. You need your big players to perform big time. Not just one or two. You need everybody chipping in, and you need a wee bit of luck as well. There's been a lot of games when Celtic have won games in European football. They've been in the last 5 minutes, that kind of thing. So it needs a massive effort. But the proof will be, have Ajax improved from where the last time they played, and have Celtic.
Another little story that caught my eye this morning. It emerged yesterday late evening was the possibility of Celtic and Dundee playing each other in a match in the USA, almost like the 39th match that was mooted for the Barclays Premier League. Give us your thoughts.
Well, I can see why Celtic want to do it. Obviously they've got a big base over there, and there's muted that they are wanting to try and get some kind of franchise over there. Obviously the Dundee owners are from that area, so that can see why they'd want to do it. From a player point of view, I'd probably want to do it, yeah. I'd fancy a wee trip away and just get away from just get away from the mundane of the league and then making it something different. But why not? I mean, that's,
you for it?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Okay, let me put a negative spin on it, Des. I don't think it's going to get off the ground for a number of reasons. Give me your take on it.
Yeah, Peter, I think it would be terrific for everyone involved if it happened. For the countless thousands of Celtic fans in North America, it would be terrific to see a competitive game.
You'll have all the Dundee fans in Texas.
So many Dundee fans, and listen, there will be a number from Dundee that will go to the game. There'll be a lot of expats who would want to go to the game.
Yeah.
What do the MLS say about it? What are they going to get out of it? They're building their brand.
Yeah.
It's different where the NFL are in London and they're playing games around the globe. They're taking that game to a part of the world that doesn't have that game. Us, Celtic and Dundee, anyone in the Scottish League going to North America and playing a league game, I don't quite get what America get from that. And the MLS, I would think, would have an issue with that, because they're building their own brand and doing it very well, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, you only have to go back maybe less than a week for representatives from the MLS saying that they wouldn't be in any way, embracing the possibility of the 39th game that the Barclays Premier League was suggesting would be played over in America. So I don't see any reason why they would embrace a lesser product, and I'm not, I'm not being too harsh on them. A lesser product in Scottish football. I don't see where the money split comes from. They're trying to, as you mentioned, get MLS across to so many kids playing over there. Who gets a cut of the revenue, the TV deal? You have to pay the Americans for it? Who gets a cut of the game? How many Scottish games will be played as the 39th game over there? And of course, what happens to the distribution of the cash? Is it to appease one club, or does everybody get a cut of it? I just cannot see the value in it. I don't think it'll get off the ground, despite what some Americans who own Dundee would like to see happen.
Well, I think the SPFL have said today as well, Peter, that there has been no application at this stage. I mean, I'm sure it is all getting chatted about in the background. Whether it's actually going to come to fruition. I think Dundee have got a bigger job in their hand to try and get more Dundee fans into Dens Park, rather than to take their side to Texas or Boston or Philadelphia or wherever it may be. And as you said, the split of the revenue, there's also a significant cost to take both sides over and to take Willie Collum over or whoever it might be. There's a cost element to doing it. So I don't think it will happen. I would be astonished if it did. Would I be happy if it did then? If it's beneficial for the game, absolutely. I just don't see how it benefits our game. Yeah,
absolutely. If indeed, I just can't see it getting off the ground, the mechanics of it, especially in another country. Of course, Tom Rogic of Celtic was asked the question today, and like many players, including our former players here, he's right up for it.
It's a good opportunity to expand the game and I guess broadcast Scottish football on a a world stage, and obviously Celtic has a massive fan base, and it'd be fantastic to give some fans over there the chance to see us play and hopefully perform.
And with that in mind, the bus on Saturday will leave Dalmarnock at 9:30 in the morning for the game in June. If you want to head across to it.
You'd be surprised how many people would go to that game.
Oh, you're right.
You put that game in Boston and there'll be people signing up as we speak.
Yeah, absolutely. We did actually put out a little poll on this particular one. Would you like to see an SPFL game played in the USA? Here's the result. 31% said yes, 69% said no. I think there are all sorts of questions as to who would benefit from it in the long run. If it was for the greater good and the collective, if there was some way that got off the ground and the cash would be dispersed among everybody, I'm sure they'd all embrace it.
Absolutely. And the other point I didn't say there, Peter, what would it say to, for example, if it was Celtic's home game and it's played in Boston, what would it say about Celtic's thoughts towards their own supporters who go every week to the games? I think
Dundee have already said it would be their
home game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even vice versa.
But to be perfectly absolutely. But to be perfectly honest with you, I think there's probably greater mileage in a franchise. I totally get that from a club. Celtic have thought about that. May well still be in discussions with it. I get that because that could bring in revenue, but you're also embracing the community and the franchise that you buy, and you play within a league structure there.
I think that's a no-brainer for Celtic, I have to say. I think with the dawn of the MLS, with more and more kids from the UK going over to America on soccer scholarships as well, I think there has been a real growth. I coached over in the States 89 and 90, well ahead of even USA 94, and at that point it was still very much in its infancy, whereas now it's booming. There's some of the obviously big names that are over in the MLS adding a little bit of credibility to it, but the Americans themselves have embraced it, and it is now a big sport in the States.
Just one thing to talk about before the break. Mike Ashley has won the right to question the SFA's ruling on Dave King as a fit and proper person. Again, it rages on. It's just one in a number of battles he's winning at the moment, especially ahead of Friday's AGM, Ruffy. This one, it's just another thing to worry about in the new year for Rangers as a club.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Rangers, it's become a personal vendetta between the two of them now. You know, I don't think he's going to back off. You know, he's got a bee in his bonnet about everything that's going on, and he seems to be the one with the money. He seems to be the one that's winning, not all the cases, but the majority of them, and it's something that Rangers won't want hanging about when they're concentrating on the football.
Yeah, okay. We will undoubtedly talk about that. It'll gather pace as we head towards the AGM at the weekend. We'll also look to the football tonight. Champions League on the agenda next. We'll also talk St Johnstone and Hearts and Hibs as well. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. Des McKeown is our guest on tonight's programme. We'll look at the Champions League in just a minute. Some other stories that caught my eye. Scott Arfield, Ruffy, has mentioned that he is probably veering towards an international career at Canada. Rather than Scotland, and I think that's just down to the fact that he can't force his way into Gordon Strachan's plans. We have, if anything, a good strength in the middle of the park.
Yeah, and he's a good young player. When you're a young player and you see other players run about, you're getting international recognition and you're not actually on the fringe of it. You've got to make a decision when you've got a choice. I mean, there's not a lot of players have a choice. He certainly has a choice. And if we don't move quickly and get him, then quite right. I think the boy's got every right to go and play wherever he wants to.
Yeah, he's been playing really well. 27 years of age though, Des.
I was going to say, I don't think he would fall into the young category. You know, Scott Arfield at Falkirk, terrific. I think he got a number of under-21 caps as well.
Yeah.
I think at 27, if you're not being brought into the squad, given the level of consistency, his performance at club side, and you're right, Peter, Scotland and Gordon Strachan were blessed with a good number of midfielders, and other guys like Robert Snodgrass coming back, scored his first goal coming back from injury yesterday in under-21s game. So Robert Snodgrass comes in. I think that's an area that we're fairly well covered. So I'm sure Scott Arfield is aware of that. Whoever represents him may have spoken to someone at the SFA, and rather than waiting, he now needs to act. And listen, good luck to the boy, because he's always been a player, even as a young kid, that impressed. He was always great attitude to the game, and he's gone on from strength to strength.
Yeah. In the next couple of weeks, John Yogi Hughes has said he'd like to see his contract sorted out at Inverness Partick Thistle, that he wants to stay there. Ruffy.
Yeah, well, I thought we all thought there might have been a wee bit of unrest the way the Dundee United thing was handled. It looked from the outside that he really fancied it, and when it doesn't happen, you've got to go back to where you were. You've got to get the players back on board, and it looks as if he's done that. And if he's quite happy to sign another contract, then why not?
Yeah. St Johnstone are playing Dundee on Friday. Does it go down as a derby? I mean, it's not really. There's a fair bit of needle between the two of them that goes back to the 60s. I have to be honest with you. I'm not quite sure I'm taking it as a derby, but
I think if you speak to both sets of fans, they would take it as a derby. Peter, it's a strange one. You know, you would think Dundee United was the derby, but a lot of the St Johnstone fans and a lot of the Dens fans actually think that's historically been a bigger derby for them.
Yeah,
it's a strange one.
And of course, I love managers when there's a wee bit of needle going on. It seems to be right across the divisions at the moment, because Tommy Wright has said most of the players are having a wee laugh, Ruffy, at the Dundee United accusations that they're a long ball team. I have to say that's harsh on St Johnstone.
Yeah, I would have said so as well. I only saw the highlights at the weekend, but most of the highlights I saw, they're getting the ball down, getting it wide to Haller and getting it into the box for the quality strikers that they have. So I don't know where he's coming for that one. You know, sometimes in the game you get tabbed by a certain kind of play, but that's not the case as far as I'm concerned with St Johnstone.
Yeah, and Tommy Wright, as ever, he always likes to mention in the after-match press conferences that St Johnstone don't get as much praise as they should. Well, they're on one heck of a run, Des.
Yeah, and he's probably right, Peter. You know, however, I don't think it's that they don't get the praise. I think there's other stories that are taking probably the headlines away from them. You know, in recent times, Dundee United's poor run, other bits and pieces that are going on. You know, obviously Celtic, when they're not winning games, that obviously becomes a headline. But what Tommy Wright has achieved at St Johnstone is nothing short of staggering, and he's continually delivering results, continually finding players to come in and play to the system. I mean, John Sutton can't get a game primarily because, you know, Brian Graham's done well, Michael Halloran's been a revelation coming back up from Bolton. So no, I think what Tommy Wright has achieved, as I said, incredible, and I'm sure he'll be quite happy just for people to ignore what they're doing as long as they're winning games.
Yeah, before we get to your Champions League predictions, lads, Wraith Rovers against St Mirren, is it more misery for St Mirren, or will they be heartened by the fact that Wraith Rovers threw away a 3-goal lead at the weekend, Ruffy?
Yeah, I don't think the Wraith Rovers will be happy with that one. You know, when we were sitting watching it here, it looked as if it was going to be an emphatic win. But certainly, he's got home advantage. It's St Mirren. We're all looking at that league table. Another defeat tonight, you know, could get them perilously, really, really in trouble. So they desperately need to get something out of that game.
I spoke to a couple of St Mirren fans that attended the Derby match on Friday night, Peter, and they're really concerned. Don't see where they're going to pick up points. Really deflated about the way they're playing, and that's a difficult game for them because sure, Wraith lost 3 late goals, but they were in a position to win the game comfortably. Anything could happen there, but St Mirren, you know, a lot of people thought they would be a shoe-in for one of the playoff places. At this stage it could be at the wrong end of the pitch, wrong end of the table for a playoff place.
See, that's what's great about Des, Ruffy. He can just go up and speak to anybody. You know, I lived in Paisley. If I went up and said, what do you think of St Mirren? They go, who are you? What's that all about? What are you talking to me for? What have I done wrong? So, fair play to you, Des. Just a friend of everybody. Albion Rovers, we might get this game on Albion Rovers against Cowdenbeath. I wouldn't like to be the Cowdenbeath fans heading there thinking, lost 7 at the weekend.
Aye, absolutely, and I just hope the game goes ahead. You know, as a former Albion Rovers player, I hope Albion Rovers win the game, but Colin this Cowdenbeath will just be wanting to get that game from Saturday out of their system, and the fans. Okay,
I'm glad to see that the English press have a real disdain for the Europa League as well as myself, Ruffy, because you know, one of the newspapers this morning, they were talking about if Arsenal don't win their game tonight, then they'll face the dreaded Europa League conundrum. Do you actually want to actually play in the Europa League? And quite simply, not too many English clubs do.
No, they all want to be in the Champions League with the teams that are in there. But if they're not good enough for it, they'll have to go in there. And you would like to think if they fall into it, they would want to win it. And you're right. You know, I don't think this competition kicks into quarterfinals, semi-finals, and everybody wants to be in a final. So I'm sure Arsene Wenger, although he'll be disappointed, he'll still have to go for it.
Yeah, it's quite amazing, Des. This is an Arsenal side that, if they fail to get through, this will be the first time in 15 years they haven't been in the last 16.
Absolutely staggering, Peter. I mean, that is some statistic. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans speak openly, you know, high-profile Arsenal fans speak openly about, listen, we'll forgo the Champions League qualification into the knockout stages if you can deliver us the title, the Premiership title, or Premier League title. And I think Arsene Wenger, if they don't win tonight, I think he would prefer to forgo the Europa League to concentrate on the league.
Yeah,
it's not the first time they've dug themselves out a hole in the Champions League. You know, they went away, I think they went away one year and had to beat Bayern and did it.
Yeah.
So whether they do it this year is another thing.
Yeah, well, let's find out now. Are they going to do it, Ruffy?
I think they will, yeah.
Yeah?
I think they'll win tonight, yeah. And then it'll be up to obviously other results in the last game.
Yeah, okay. So, oh, there you are.
I think they've got, they just see me do it. They just see me do it. You remember, they not go away to Turkey once.
To win their last 2 games a couple of years ago, and they managed that.
Okay, Ruffy's behind the Gunners on this one. Were they in for you when you were a kid?
No, I think I've reached that heady height.
Okay, are you backing them, Des?
I think Arsenal will win. Yeah, I think Arsenal will win against Dinamo Zagreb.
Okay, Chelsea?
Chelsea will qualify. I think they'll win tonight, but I'm just not happy with the way they're playing at all. I mean, 1-0 against Norwich to me doesn't show any signs of improvement, but they certainly have got quality players on their side, and again they've got European tradition, so you wouldn't bet against it, but I think they'll win tonight.
It's strange actually, and it kind of it grates with me the fact that we are constantly now just looking at the Champions League without any Scottish involvement in it, and you're looking to effectively the British but the English clubs to see if they can go as far as possible. I look at all the English clubs. I look at Manchester United, Manchester City. I mean, Sergio Aguero this morning mentioning that he thinks Manchester City have got the making of going far in the Champions League. I don't see it.
Neither do I, Peter. I thought a couple of seasons ago, and I think it might even be the start of last season, I thought Man City would win the Champions League. They couldn't even win their own league, never mind the Champions League. Chelsea obviously won it last season. I don't think English football is anywhere close to competing with the Spanish, the German teams. I think German, particularly Bayern Munich, Barcelona, miles ahead of the English teams, miles ahead.
Isn't it amazing? You never even mentioned Real Madrid there. Of course, their president has come out and said that Rafa Benitez is safe in his job, so that gets him to Wednesday of next week, Robbie.
You'll probably wait until Real Madrid win the cup and then sack him.
That's happened. I think Vicente Del Bosque
yeah.
and Jupp Heynckes as well ended up winning the Champions League. No talk of winning it with style, just winning is the key, as Gordon Strachan told me on many occasions how to be a successful manager. Win, and then win again. Thanks to Des McKeown for being our bookroom guest tonight. From Ruffy and myself, thanks for watching the programme. Good night.